Okay, so my first impressions on Windjammers 2. I think this is actually a really good time for me to actually say these. One of the best descriptions that I've given, or that I've seen for Windjammers, is that think of it like the Dark Souls of Pong. And I would even extend on to that, but it's like, imagine like Dark Souls PvP, but Pong. This game has a lot of like really interesting like amount of depth and complexity to it. Characters are distinguished between like their strength and their speed, and they're also distinguished by their special throws and their supers, which can move all sorts of different angles and go for different parts of the field. And that adds like a whole bunch of different depth in and of itself. But you also add into the fact that all the stages have like their own unique elements too. Like the regions for which places you can score 3 or 5 are different on every single stage. They have different widths, they have different positions, so they're not always in the same place. Missing a like lobbed shot, if it lands on the ground, like on some stages it's worth 4, and other stages it's worth 2. The stages are different dimensions, so like the wider the stage is, the worse it is for like the slower fighters. But like the narrower a stage is, the better it is for like the really quick characters. And then you also add in the bumpers in the middle of the stages that like really mess with like the angles that you throw the disc. There's a lot of like really like intense like mechanics and systems and things you need to kind of figure out on the fly in the middle of a match. And it makes not only just like playing, but also watching the game like a really enjoyable experience. Like when you have those back and forth super fast routes where you just like quick throwing shots right next to each other, quick angles, one of you supers, you lob it right towards like the beginning of the net. They toss it back with like a quick counter, like a quick check. It's like you get moments like that, and those are like some like the best. Those are like the best experiences that you could ever possibly have. It's so good. So good. The netcode is really good. The first initial betas were delay based, but this game released with rollback netcode, which is a must for any 1v1 high action, I would even argue fighting game. Like Windjammers is a fighting game at this point. I haven't had too many really like bad interactions with the rollback in this game. It's implemented very, very well. There were like 2 occasions where I would fight someone and it would feel that they're skipping all over the place. I've only had that twice. To be honest, it's probably not even a game. It's just probably how far I am connected with the other person. So that's great. That's great. Really enjoyed that. I believe there's crossplay in this. Game. I've seen people show up with like Xbox icons whenever we first match up, and then like in the match they would switch to Steam icons. So I think there's crossplay. Yeah, the matchmaking is like pretty simple. It's like the bare bones, but it works. It just works, and that's okay. Like what's here right now works, and that is great. I've seen games release with less. In this modern generation of fighting games, I have seen games release with less. So this is great. This is fantastic. The rank system, really straightforward. It's just a simple progress bar to X number of points. If you go to the leaderboards, it's a very simple progression system. The more points you have, oh man, I went back down to 0. Ugh. But basically, like as you acquire more points, you just move up through the ranks. It's a very straightforward rank system as far as rank systems go. So it goes all the way from rookie to bronze to silver to gold, to platinum to diamond to master, and the highest that we've seen is grandmaster. Yeah, people really grind out this game, dude. Like you gotta keep in mind, the Windjammer scene has been a thing since the first game came out, like what, 20 plus years ago, and the transferable skill, if you are familiar with Windjammers, you will fit right into Windjammers 2. They added like a couple of like really interesting and unique mechanics in this game. You used to only have 2 buttons in Windjammers 1. I think that's like the big difference. But now you can like, you have like a little like counter like bunt in addition to just like catching the disc and just throwing it back, which really changes up the momentum of anything that you send at your opponent, and it'll even like reflect like supers back at them too. Your supers used to be purely offensive in Windjammers 1, but in Windjammers 2, you can also use your supers defensively. So if you miss a shot and you have a full bar a meter, if you are close enough to it, you can activate your super and you will toss a disc back up in the air, and that gives you all of your options for just jumping up and just going for additional follow-up. You can go for a follow-up power shot whenever you land on the ground. It really opens the door for how you can really change the pace of a match. And also, I don't think there was a jump button in Windjammers 1. Like, just having like that extra dimension is always nice, and it opens up like it opens up a lot of like opportunities to like really mix up your play style. So the way how the game is right now, I'd say it has a really kind of high skill ceiling, but even at like the skill floor, of just understanding like the basics of how the mechanics work, it's still really enjoyable, and it's super entertaining regardless of your skill level. It's missing like a really complex lobby system. To my understanding, as of this date that I'm saying this, February 7th, 2022, there is currently no lobby system supporting more than 2 players, and there is currently no spectator mode. So that does limit running online tournaments for the game as of right now. But I believe these concerns have been addressed by the developers, and I believe they are looking into it. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the very near future that this problem gets fixed. Other than that, I have no issues with this game. This game is great. If you've seen any footage of this game and you're interested in picking it up, the game's only $20. You spent $60. You spent more money on games that are really not that worth it. Windjammers 1 has had like a really long legacy, appearing at events like Evo and Combo Breaker. I really think that with how good the net play experience for Windjammers 2 is, the skill ceiling for the game, how accessible it is to pick up and enjoy, I think this game will do really well moving into the future. I would not be surprised if Windjammers 2 became like a really popular side game at majors. I would not be shocked. So if you think that this game is interesting to you, pick it up, give it a shot. There are a ton of learning resources out there to really improve at the game and get better, and the Windjammers community is like super dedicated. So if you join a Discord server for the game, look up some of the stuff on some of their wikis, you will be able to hop right in and really enjoy this to its utmost extent. So with that said, I am going to start tossing some I'm gonna start tossing some frisbees.